Hello and welcome to a special edition of the GBC podcast. This is episode 117, created on October 4th, 2025. I'm John. I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin. With me, as usual, Jeff in Minnesota and Neil on the East Coast. Say hello, gentlemen, and tell us what you're drinking.
This is about party music, so I'm having a party beer, Keystone Light.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's early morning, so I started with a Bloody Maria today.
Yes, trade secret. We are recording this in the morning, so I've got my coffee mug with a little bit hazelnut in it as well. As we are the official podcast of the Lot 1 Tailgate Party, which is at Lambeau Field every home game, we are excited to have Green Bay tailgating royalty with us today. Our guests are straight out of Wisconsin. They are known professionally as Cheeseheads with Attitude. Welcome, Mark and Jamie. What are you drinking?
I got my coffee mug right here. A lot of sugar-free stuff in it at my age.
Excellent.
And I'm going with the old zero sugar Gatorade this morning.
Hydrating. Good job, you guys. Does that mean that there was a late gig last night?
Oh, there's always something going on.
So as mentioned, you are the Cheeseheads with Attitude. So any Packer fan that's been around at any point in the last 30 years has heard some type of Packer-related song where a regular song is changed over in the lyrics, a parody, if you will. Let's talk about the background. How did you guys come up with this terrific idea?
Well, actually, it was the third member, Stevie Rochelle. It was his brainchild. It was September 22nd back in 1996.
You have a birth date for it and everything. Excellent.
Well, honestly, it was 96, and since then I have a daughter whose birthday is September 22nd, so I always remember the date.
Excellent.
But anyways, backtracking, we were at a Packer bar out in California, and Vikings were playing, and they were handing it to us. And some Viking fans were getting up in our face, and a friend of ours said, "Hey, watch it. We're Cheeseheads with an Attitude, and you get out of line." And Stevie thought, that's a really cool name. And he went home and started writing lyrics and started bouncing them off of Jamie, and they needed a third person, and I happen to be from Wisconsin and can hold a tune. So they gave me a call, and we hit the studio probably, 2 weeks later?
2 weeks later, yeah.
What was the first song?
I believe it was Cheesehead Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one we parodied to Beck, Loser Baby.
You guys ended up eventually with a lot of local radio support anyway. I think WIXX was really big for you guys. How long does it take you to get some traction, though, with this stuff?
Literally 72 hours.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And it was an about face, because the packages got sent out and they started trickling into the various radio stations. And we were hearing back that, unbeknownst to us, there were several bands doing the same thing. Because we were in California at the time and thought, wow, this is cool, let's try it. And they sent us back replies saying, we'll give it a shot, we'll listen to it, but there's a lot of this going on. So we got a lot of rejection for the first week, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then they listened to it and went, wow, this isn't bad. And they started playing it. And the general public started calling in and saying, hey, we want to hear that more. And got the ball rolling. And that's pretty much how it started. And then WIXX that week played Where the Hell is Neenah, which we kind of thought was a filler.
Yeah.
We didn't even think much of it because, we talk about the Packers here and there, but it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, Wisconsin. And it went to number 9 on their top 9 at 9 that Thursday, up to number 2 on Friday, and then it went to number 1 for the next 5 weeks straight.
Wow.
Because we had come to town to film some videos, and every night we'd listen to the top 9 at 9, and we were kind of get to the top 2, and it was like Chili Peppers and Prince and Blackstreet and and all these big names, and we're like, oh, we got knocked off. We're not going to make it again. Every night, boom, boom. And after 5 weeks, they finally said, okay, guys, we get it. You guys like it. It's retired. It's number 1. It'll always be number 1. And to this day, my daughters still call me up and say, hey, they're playing your song before the game again, which is cool.
I can tell you, so I've got 3 daughters. My middle daughter, her name is Neenah. So whenever she was little, I thought of you guys whenever I said, where the hell is Neenah? And in my household, I was the only one who caught the reference as well, too. So it's
when you call her for dinner, did you just go, Neenah?
Well, you guys definitely, you're Packer fans, but you're musicians first, right? Talk about your background. You must have started, really young, grade school kind of stuff. What's your music background leading up to this?
Actually, me and this guy started when I first started jamming.
Yeah,
we were in bands together back in the 80s.
1986 or 1987, we first started.
And we played the local club scene here in Milwaukee. Back then it was the Jabberwocky, T.A. Burns, Stars, the Haven.
The Toad.
Yeah, the Toad.
Yeah, there was all kinds of places.
Yeah, great clubs here in Milwaukee we used to play. And then about I can't remember if it was 89 or 87, it was the first time I went out to Los Angeles with my friend John Korn. Yeah, we ended up sleeping with our bags buried in the sand on Venice Beach because we didn't have a hotel. And I ended up hooking up with Stevie a couple weeks after. Him and his band had a place in the valley, so I ended up crashing with them for a while. Shortly thereafter, I joined my first band in Hollywood, California called Cyanide Kick. This close to getting signed and all that other stuff, but it just wasn't in the cards. And then not too much later, I joined Tough as bass player after their original bass player left the group, and jammed with them for several years. And while jamming with them, I found a real good buddy out there named Todd, and we started a punk band called The Mistakes that was pretty popular.
Real popular.
Yeah, real popular. And matter of fact, we're the only unsigned band that has their picture up in the rainbow on the Sunset Strip.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
To this day.
To this day, yeah.
At first, though, when you get together, you guys, like bands do, you're probably playing cover tunes, things like that. But you eventually, Jamie, you're getting into, that's all original music you're talking about, right?
Correct, yeah. Mainly the covers were like when we started out, like in local bands and stuff, like when me and Mark started out with. We were in a band called Lipstick and Leather. I mean, we had original tunes, of course, but we had mostly, covers that we did. Back then it was hard to win people over with original music. So
it still is.
Yeah. So you had to play Motley Crue and Rat and all that stuff.
Jamie, you said you're a bass player. What else do you play?
I play bass, drums, guitar, keyboards, and violin.
Wow. Mark, what do you do? You just look good.
No, I sing. I don't really look that good. Don't let my boyish good looks fool you. I play guitar. I sing. And about a year ago, I took up playing bass. I play bass in the band now as well.
You guys started together, you said, in 86, but then, Mark, do you go to California with him at that time as well?
No, actually, I went out to California. My parents both moved out there. I had a brother and sister that moved out there. So I moved out and just basically started living my life out there.
Okay.
I'm still friends with them. I got together, hung out, but I never got into any musical project until 1996 when the CWA project rolled around. But I had been in bands in Milwaukee before. It was a band called Love Rocket that was pretty popular back in the day. Actually, Stevie was in town from Hollywood at one point and performed with us. And he enjoyed our band so much back in 2010 when Tough played in town, he asked if we could get Love Rocket back together and do a reunion show for him, which we did. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, we definitely both have a lot of musical roots, and we just still always trying to improve. And like this morning at 5 o'clock this morning, I was up learning a new song and bass from my other band. So
I had learned from a friend who, he was in a cover band throughout college and all that sort of stuff. He said that when you rehearse so much, you get bored with cover tunes that you start to make up lyrics that sound kind of the same, almost in a parody manner. Is that how a parody kind of drives you? It gets raunchy. I can tell by the look on your face. It gets raunchy sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, we get very still.
I mean, back in high school, I remember doing it with my friends in high school, and then it just evolved to these knuckleheads. And, it's just something we've always done, and I still do it. My wife calls me the ruiner. I'm the great. I ruin everything.
My wife too. Yeah.
She can't listen to music the same way anymore. She's like, you ruined that again now. Damn it! Would you stop doing it?
My wife as well. Yeah, she'll look at me with the wife look like, are you serious? That was a great song for me, and thanks for screwing that up. Thank you.
You got to put an example out there now that you dropped that. But it just happens, right? You don't even think about it when it happens, probably.
Yeah, exactly, because it comes to both. It's always come to both of us quite naturally, because we're both a couple of.
Well, we're kind of the class clown guys. Actually, when we met, people thought we were related because we were so similar in our ways and things we did and said, and we played off each other really well.
Absolutely.
First time we were in California together, we actually were the roadies for Tough. We had just first started hanging out with them. And we both dressed in stonewashed jeans with a Tough t-shirt and I think black tennis shoes. And we're walking around like the Doublemint twins singing the Doublemint song. And the chicks were all like, oh cute. Double delicious to chew.
I mean, you can see that in your videos too. Just the way that you all play off each other is really neat.
It's something that it kind of came naturally, just kind of messing with each other and just singing at the same time.
Right.
So prior to 1996, I mean, you have this epiphany moment of someone calling you Cheeseheads with attitude, right? Prior to that, does the concept of doing parody songs ever come about? Are you fans of Weird Al Yankovic, the Dr. Demento scene? Is that even in your wheelhouse?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I've always loved Weird Al. When I first heard of him on the radio, I was like, this is insanely cool. But then of course, when he got really huge doing the Michael Jackson parodies and stuff like that, I was like, how do you even make money doing this? Because he's doing it to somebody else's song. So all the publishing obviously has to go to the original artist and blah, blah, blah. But come to find out, there's quite a bit of money involved in performance royalties.
Yeah.
Performance,
Okay.
what's called performance ASCAP royalties. And that's where he makes the lion's share of his income. So, of course, Michael Jackson gets quite a bit of that because it's his song, but he gets quite a bit of it as well because
I think probably was
what's that?
Eat It.
Eat It, yeah. And then when of course he came out with the videos and all that, parodied the videos. Since he's already paid the publishing for the actual song, he didn't have to give any, because back then you got money for the video plays as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he didn't have to give any royalties up for that either. But to get back to your question, yes, Weird Al was definitely, I was a huge fan of Weird Al. I think I saw him at State Fair twice.
In high school, I think I was a huge fan of like Run DMC. Well, Beastie Boys didn't come out until 85 or 84, but all the old school rap, Sugar Hill Gang and all that stuff. So we were always rapping back and forth. So when he and Stevie were looking for a third member, he was like, I know Mark can rap.
Yeah.
You know, let's get him in and give him a shot, you know?
Okay.
And we just had a flow together. And it was pretty natural with you and I, and Stevie fit right in the mix.
So there's kind of a difference between parody and novelty, so to speak. Parody is where, like you were saying, Jamie, you take a song that's existing and you just write funny lyrics to it. Novelty, I think, is where you come up with the whole original idea. Probably the biggest one in particular, the Bears Still Suck, right? The Happy Schnapps combo. Where are you guys between parody and novelty?
We've
Heavy on the parody.
on the side of parody. For the simple reason that we knew if we could parody a song that was either in the zeitgeist or was very popular at one point, that's the attention grabber.
Mm-hmm.
We got so close to the actual music that, you know, when the track first came on, people would go, oh, cool, this is on. And all of a sudden they hear a different, you know, vocal pattern and all that stuff going on. And they're like, wait a minute, this isn't Beck. Who the hell is this? You know? And especially in Wisconsin, you know, it took off like a rocket because they're like, holy shit, they're singing about us, you know what I mean?
And the thing is we went into a professional studio. It was like a 28 in, 24 out board, and we produced the heck out of this thing.
Yeah, it cost quite a bit of money.
When it came across on the radio, it sounded like professional. And
I think just even in the I'm a Cheesehead off of Beck's Loser, I mean, there's so much production value in that song. I mean, you've got sound effects coming in at the beginning of that song, the farm animal sound effects, right? You guys are making those noises? Nice.
I have a follow-up question though about parody because I have to ask, are you fans of soccer? Because you watch soccer worldwide and chanting is a big part of it. And so much of chanting is just essentially taking well-known songs and then singing something about soccer to those lyrics. Do you do any of that?
I myself am not a huge fan of soccer, but I have noticed that, especially in the UK, they do that. You know, they do those.
Oh, I noticed a lot of live videos. Like, for instance, I'm a big Rush fan. Rush in Rio, all of their songs, you can hear the audience chanting along with the vocal lines. And then like YYZ, which doesn't have any lyrics, the audience just kind of chants along as a vocal line, but you hear it all the time in Rio when bands do live things from like Rio or Europe. They do the chanting thing behind the band a lot.
Yeah. I love the enthusiasm of soccer fans, definitely.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, that's one of the great things when you get a new player that joins your team. It's, well, what is his song going to be? Like, this is the big thing for every new player. And how are they going to be immortalized in some song that is well known?
Right.
It's kind of like baseball with the walk-up music.
When you're putting together an idea for a song, do you pick a player? Do you say, hey, this player would make a great song? Or go back to some of the process of the songs that you've put together. Walk us through it.
It mainly starts with what are people going to associate with?
What's a hook?
Yeah. What's going to attract more people to the song? So like a good example is Where the Hell is Neenah? We sing about pretty much every smaller town in the state of Wisconsin. We put that in there. And we did that quite honestly to shout out as many people as we could to bring them into the song, to make them feel like they were part of the song, that kind of thing.
And it worked.
And it worked really well because
it also kind of backfired because a lot of people would come up and go, why didn't you put our town in there? Why didn't you put our town? But when they do that live, I'd be like, what's your town? And they would tell us, I'd be like, we'll do it live. We do it live.
Do it live.
Yeah. So we'll shout out to it, and the little group of people that are there go nuts when they hear their name. It's awesome.
What town or city is most excited about hearing their town named?
Neenah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. That's the one that got the biggest. So
okay, and then
people, I mean, literally, I see it all over the place. People standing in front of a Neenah sign going, I found it. I'm like, wow, they've heard of our band. You know, people I have no idea, you just see it randomly on things. And it's just like, oh, wow, they've heard of my band, because why else would they be going, I found Neenah?
Right.
And then a follow-up to that question. All three of us are from Alloway, and Packer Face is the only song in music history to ever use the town of Alloway. And so the question is, first of all, why Alloway? Were you big fans of Heritage Hill growing up, for example, or did you just work out lyrically? But like, nobody knows where Alloway is.
Because it rhymes with Green Bay. That's the reason why we had it in there.
A lot of things, they fit in the song, they rhyme. Like, people ask, why did you pick Neenah? Because I'm like, because Neenah rhymed with where the hell? Funky Cold Medina? You know? Sorry, Kalkana doesn't rhyme with Medina.
Was there a day, did you just grab a map and go through and look at what are all the small towns we can find?
Quite literally in the studio we did.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did.
Yep. Plover, Pewaukee, you know.
Even though we were all quite familiar with the state and all that stuff, we did have to kind of look at a map and say, well, this rhymes with this and that goes with that.
Mm-hmm. Or, wow, this would really fit. Do we actually have a town in this state called that? Yes, we do. Waterloo. There's a Waterloo, Wisconsin. Cool. Yeah. You know, stuff like that. You know, we have to make sure there is one in Wisconsin, or people would be like, wait a minute.
I love Alloway, by the way.
So do we.
So do we.
Jamie, going back to what you...
Let me ask you this then. Why aren't you guys all together like us then if you're all in the same town?
Oh, because we're not. We are all from Alloway, but yeah, I live out east in Jefferson, Minnesota, and it's just
I hold down the fort here,
but we get together for Packers games. That's sort of the key. Is we meet up in Green Bay. We do road trips together.
So. I was just being a smart ass.
That's
sorry.
okay. That's okay.
We like smart ass.
You got to give it to Neil every once in a while anyway. He deserves it.
So Jeff, how's it being a Packer fan in Minnesota?
Oh, it's interesting. My wife is a Vikings fan, so we,
House divided.
I've only been there once. I was there with Jamie, and their fans seem to like to talk a lot of smack.
Yeah, they do.
And at the time, I would just say, Jamie, let me see your cigarette pack. And he would give me a cigarette pack, and I would take the cellophane and lift it up as they were talking. And I would sit there, and they'd look at me, and I'd go, that's your trophy case. You want to keep talking. And then shut them up immediately, and I would put it right back down and hand him his cigarettes back. And shut him up immediately. Yeah. So there's even if you don't smoke, have a pack in your pocket just to do that.
Have it ready to go.
It's worth the $10-15, whatever they are now.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
A visual aid. I love it.
So obviously you're extremely popular in Wisconsin. How often have you played outside of Wisconsin, and what sort of reception have you gotten outside of Wisconsin?
Yeah, we've played
California,
Arizona, Texas,
Illinois. We played all over, man.
Yeah, because
we played down in the Caribbean.
Yeah, we played down in the Caribbean. Yeah. So there's Packer fans worldwide. We all know this. They keep calling the Cowboys America's team, but let's face it, Green Bay Packers are America's team. Yeah. And nobody is more well-traveled, well-mannered than Green Bay fans.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. So, and you can ask any fan from any team that comes to Green Bay, they're always overwhelmed by the open arms they get from fans here in Green Bay. So when we travel, they come out in droves to come see. Mm-hmm. Packer fans never disappoint. We played a Packer cruise a couple of years back.
The Packers Legend Cruise in 2018.
And it was the first inaugural one. So I can tell it was their first because there was a lot of things that they didn't do right. But the one thing that they didn't do was bring enough swag for these rabid Packer fans to buy on this cruise. And they were literally sold out in 12 hours of all the stuff that was on the cruise. I'm like, oh my God, what a missed opportunity for you bastards.
They said they did a Steeler cruise earlier and they sold out at the end of the thing, but they were like, this was literally within the first couple hours. I think they broke the parties up into 3 separate groups that could buy swag because they didn't want everybody rushing down. And the third party didn't even get to go in to get any swag. It was all gone.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we played quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'd say we've been out of Texas, what, 5 or 6 times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cheddarhead Pack of Houston. They love us down there.
Yeah,
They have us
Matt
down.
and Amy Fritzer got a great club down there called Cheddarhead Pack Houston.
The
It's just
CHPA.
phenomenal people, and everybody in that Cheesehead group is just amazing. And when they watch their Packer games, it's like being at Lot One.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they do the Wedge of Allegiance before every game, like Scott does at Lot One. And
Yeah, they found out about us, I think in like 2014 or 15.
Yeah.
And they were like, we've been listening to you guys since we started for like the last 15 years. We can actually have you guys come and play for us. So yeah. So they brought us down like you said about 4 or 5 times now. And they're always really good hosts.
I love that your origin story is a Packers bar in Los Angeles as well, because if you're a Packers fan who has moved out and a Wisconsin expat, as it were, these Packer bars have been a lifeline, especially in the pre-direct TV era. And I love going and visiting with traveling fans. Like I'm very sad to hear about Mom's going out of business in LA, because it was such a great experience I had at Mom's, which is the Packers bar in LA.
Yeah, that was a great place. And we used to go to a place in the Valley called the Pickwick Pub, which was kind of like an old Irish pub, but they hosted Packer games there. And, you know, you especially, I mean, Neil, you can attest to this. When you walk into a Packer bar, I don't care any state it's in, it feels like you're back in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's like-minded. Everybody you feel like you've known them for, all your life.
Speaking of, we had to go watch a Packer Bear game at a bear bar in Glendale one time. And everybody had their tables in the bar and this and that. And then they had this little quarantine, like a wooden fenced off section with benches, and that's where all the Packer fans sit.
They call it the Packer
The
pen.
Packer pen.
Yeah.
You get in the Packer pen. Put like a line of benches and inside wooden fence.
Every time we scored, they throw cheese curds at us.
They threw
You
a lot
mentioned
of at us. That was when Brett Favre was like burning them left and right. So yeah, we had a good time there.
you mentioned the Wedge of Allegiance. Who is the brainchild behind the Wedge of Allegiance?
Stevie
did that. Yeah.
Stevie wrote it? Okay.
For the most part, I would say for the most part, Stevie wrote probably 90% of all the lyrics.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when we get to the studio and bounce things off of each other and come with lines and, phrases here and there, like Neenah was brought up in the studio. That was never a thing until we were doing it like in the studio behind the scenes. And Stevie was like, dude, we got to get in there right now and put that in there.
Yeah.
That's the key right there. That's the hook. And we did that. And I have no idea how many people have walked right up to my face and went, it was like a word we came up with that just, I've seen it in the Huddle. It's a TV show here, or was a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of Packer shows that they show weekly about the game before. And a lot of people reference Neenah as Neenah. And I'm like, dude, that's our word. That's our word, that's cool. It's like,
did you trademark that? Do you get royalties whenever someone does that?
No, but it's just great to hear,
Yeah,
it's like, it just shows how far we've reached that we don't even know about,
Yeah, to Mark's point though, when the songs really took shape, it's more about personality than the lyrics, because of course, one person would have an idea and it really wouldn't be that impactful or whatever. But then when you get the 3 personalities together, that's when it really comes together and takes light.
And being the goofballs we are, let's say Cheesehead Baby, we kind of went with Snagglepuss from the cartoons. Snagglepuss, on my way to the game, but traffic's kind of heavy, promised on my brain, tailgate with my chef, it's like, we kind of went with that approach, and that's kind of had that laid back kind of drawl to it.
Yeah.
Just kind of one of our personalities said, hey, let's try that. We all went, dude, that's funny. Let's do that, And it just, like I say, we bounce things off of each other and just it comes together.
So a big part of the Lot 1 tailgate party, Scott and Justin get up and they pantomime, they do the Tim the Diehard Packer Fan, and that's immediately followed by the Wedge of Allegiance. Did they start doing that and you guys showed up one day like, hey, you're doing our wedge, or did you bring it to them? Do you remember how this whole thing got started?
I tell the story a lot, and I just told it the other day, and my older daughter said, Shane told me the exact same story a week ago. My youngest daughter's name is Shane. I took her to her first Packer game. And we were driving up there, and I told her, okay, when we get up there, people are going to recognize me. I know a lot of people up there, so don't I'm going to stop and talk. And she's like, yeah, Dad, whatever, I'm like, okay. And I had been up there a couple of weeks before, And as I walked into the game, I saw them doing our Wedge of Allegiance. So I walked up afterwards and I introduced myself to Justin. And I was like, hey, that's great that you do that. I said, I'm one of the guys in Cheeseheads with Attitude. I'm Julio. And he looked at me and went, oh my God, I recognize you right away. He's like, if you're ever up here again, come up here and do it with us. We get up to Green Bay with my youngest daughter, and she's like 15, 16, going, yeah, Dad, whatever, you're popular, sure. We get out of the car, she's like literally within 5 steps, somebody's like, oh, so and she's looking at me like, really? And as we're walking in, there's more and more tailgate parties playing our songs, and I'm looking at her and she's just like, wow, you were serious, weren't you? And we kind of saunter up to lot 1 and they're doing the pantomime thing. And I walk up and I see Justin and he's like, come on. And I jump up on the tailgate and we get the whole place going. And, at the end with our Green Bay Packers and the whole crowd's going, I jump down, I look at my daughter and she's like, wow, you were serious. And as I'm telling you, it's my older daughter. It's like, she told me the exact same story last week. She was like, sure, Dad, whatever. But then she's like, as soon as we got there, people were all over him. It was like, holy shit, Dad's really popular.
So it was Scott just kind of started doing it at one time and you happened upon it one day.
I just happened to be walking by at the right time. They were doing the pantomime thing and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was watching. All of a sudden they went into Legend. I'm like, that's our song. That's cool. Holy crap, dude. So yeah, I kind of made my way up and said, that was cool, dude. I'm one of the guys. And
yeah, Justin and Scott are great guys, man. And they do that tailgate
very well,
consistently with enough, fervor as they did the week before. And I take my hat off to them guys because they're great.
And last time I got distracted and I didn't get to do shot skis. So you guys,
well, even let's fast forward to the 2025 season here. You both are up for the season opener, the Lions game. And Scott's truck is a little bit different. He doesn't have that cap on. There was plenty of room for all 4 of you up there. Yeah. You guys really got into it. That had to have been a good feeling to see that crowd, right?
That was cool, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the first time I got up there to do it with Jamie. I've done it 3 or 4 times with the guys. Every time I go up there, I kind of make sure I make my way over there right about the time they're doing it. And for some reason, I'm usually right there when they start, jump up with them. And Justin's always happy to see me. And so is Scott. I shouldn't say Justin. Right. Scott and Justin are always happy to see me.
Mark, you mentioned how people, they recognize you, they know you. You obviously have fans. Are there other musicians or people who, do they look down on this? Is it ever derogatory that you're just a parody act or you're just a novelty act?
Honestly, they invite me on stage to sing regular songs, or a lot of them they'll do Talk Dirty to Me because it's a big 80s song, and I'll do the Talking Packers with me. And I'll be like, thanks for putting up with me as I'm leaving. They're like, dude, most guys don't even know the lyrics to the real song. And you got your own lyrics, dude. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. Get the crowd going, start chanting Go Pack Go. It's just, they love us. We've performed together with them in between their sets after Packer games several times. So we've got to know them on a personal level. We knew them before we were in the band, actually. Stevie was friends with their sound guy from years and years with Tough. So we've interacted with the guys in these bands before we were ever in Cheeseheads with Attitude, and some of them are my good friends to this day. Like,
so there's a camaraderie there. There's respect among musicians.
Yeah, like Jason Jelinek and all the guys from Johnny Wad. Dennis Peters is one of my best friends from the Glam Band. Every time I see the Glam Band, if I get a chance, I'll jump up and do a song or 2 with them. Same thing with Johnny Wad.
Well, conversely, to be a good parody band, you have to be good musicians. Jamie, you kind of touched on it earlier, where you get that hook, you sound exactly like the real song. Do you get a lot of credit for that? Like, holy shit, how do you guys nail our song so well?
Not really, because, on the first record, we did a lot of sampling, should we say?
Yeah.
But the second record was completely
alive.
I played bass on the tracks on the second record.
We had a drummer come in.
Yeah, drummer.
A set guitar player.
Yeah, he was in a band called Lit back in the 80s.
No.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it?
No, it was,
I thought it was Dog Boy.
Oh, he was in it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
My Own Worst Enemy? Yeah.
Yeah. He did the drums for that record, and excluding the first record, we did the music from then on.
We did have a one-off that we used the actual track that we got the Knicks.
Yeah,
can't use that one.
We got spanked pretty hard.
Well, I was going to ask you that from that publishing standpoint, have there been songs where you've written what you think is a killer parody tune and you just can't put it together because you run into that brick wall?
Yes. Well, we did Wisconsin Love, a parody to California Love.
Okay.
But unbeknownst to us, we got the actual masters of California Love. We got the actual master tape. So we recorded it over that. And of course, back then there was no stem separation, there was none of that technology. So if you didn't have the master tapes, you weren't going to get that sound. So as soon as we submitted to Dre's people, they said, absolutely 100% not. Do not.
Really?
Yeah, they were adamant about it. And
So we can't make a penny off of that one.
we can't make a penny on it, but that's fine. But
We do it live.
we do it live. And mysteriously enough, a couple weeks later, it was leaked to YouTube. So I don't know.
So you can still do it live.
There's no restriction on live unless a publishing company takes actual suit against you for performance, which is unheard of
Yeah.
because
Or if you're trying to record it and then sell the recordings,
Right,
you know,
right.
that would.
Okay.
yeah.
In the process, it's make the song, then go see if you can get the licensing.
What it is if you want to do a cover of a song, you can do a cover of a song. You just have to pay royalties. It doesn't matter. You can do the cover any way you want.
Okay.
If you change anything about the song, you have to submit that to the publisher or the artist, and they can approve or disapprove of it. For instance, in our early days, we tried to get I Got Friends in Cold Places, and Garth Brooks, being Garth Brooks, said no. We'll just put it that way.
Have you resubmitted that? Because I think times have changed. You got to try to resubmit that every once in a while, don't you?
I'm really not a big country fan, so I wouldn't push it too hard. But no, we never tried to resubmit it. We just moved on and did other songs and had success and didn't really ever turn around and look back on much of anything.
So you get these songs, you put them together, and you talk about people who said no. Are there any musicians or their representatives that you've gone to and they're like, oh, this is amazing, you guys this is totally fun, and they love it and they're all for it?
I don't think we've ever had anything like that.
Because as you know, this is a very huge world that we live in with music. I mean, music families and stuff like that. So we are a very small microcosm of this whole thing called music or whatever. And even when Weird Al parodied Nirvana, and they got a hold of him, he's like, yeah, we don't care. Or did they say no at first? I don't know. Whatever. But after Kurt heard it, he's like, yeah, that's hilarious, But I would love for an original artist to take notice of stuff that we did and go, yeah, that's really funny or that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
critics and everything have pretty much all liked it.
Yeah.
Except for one guy in Milwaukee that came to our show. See, we got this thing that we got a live set that we do, and it's like 8 or 9 songs, and that's all we do. And if you come and see us, and we're doing 2 sets, we're just doing that set twice for people that couldn't make the first one, or if they want to see it again, whatever, we just have a set, and that's what we do over and over wherever we go. And if we're playing 2 sets, it's going to be the same set. Just that's the way it is. And this guy didn't know that. He was a critic writing about us, came and saw us and thought we were great. And then stayed for the second set, and it was exactly the same with the exact same motions and the same, articulation and the same, okay, visit the crapper and all that.
Wasn't impressed, yeah.
And he was just like, I had to leave. I couldn't just sit there and watch the same thing twice in a row. It was like, sorry, dude. That's that.
Yeah, he gave us kind of a
that's what we do. Sorry you didn't realize that, but some people like to go see other bands, so they want to come and see the late show, or they want to see the early ones so they can see another band later, or they just like hanging out with us because we got a lot of friends that just like hanging out with us, and they sit around and watch both of them.
Are there current CWA shows planned? What's the future of CWA?
I think you're looking at it.
Not really. I mean, Mark and I have gotten together and done shows just us two, and then I think I had a kidney stone one time, and him and Stevie went out and did a show in Texas one time without me, and it's sort of interchangeable like that. But I think that we like to keep the spirit together with the 3 of us when it comes to doing bigger shows. So it's really hard to get stuff like that together with Stevie because he's busy with his thing and doing Tough and being.
I'm in 2 bands.
Yeah, he's in 2 bands. I'm constantly turning down movie deals and stuff. So I'm.
Mark, let's sell yourself here, Mark. What bands are you in? Where can people find you? Where can people get your stuff?
I just started playing bass about a year ago. I'm in a band called Zero Discipline. Ha ha ha. That kind of was a funny story because a friend of mine, his bass player left the band and they couldn't find a bass player, and he was bummed out one day, and I just kind of was half in the bag with him at the bar and said, maybe I should just start playing bass and play bass for you. And he looked at me and went, okay. And my guitar player from my other band was sitting on the other side of me. I went, really? And he goes, you think you can do it? I'm like, I don't know. I've never put on a bass before. I've never even tried. He goes, give it a shot.
You gave it a
And of
shot.
course, I was like, I got to check with the boss first. So I went home and told the wife, well, this thing came up and I might try playing bass. I explained it to her. She's like, oh, that sounds cool. And I'm like, you do realize that I have to buy
You got to buy the bass.
not only a bass, but I have to buy a bass amp. And, one bass is really, I mean, I probably would end up buying. Anyway, long story short, too late. I started playing bass in the band. I put on the bass, and first like 2.5 hours, we did about 12 songs, and I've been their bass player ever since. And then I'm in a band out of the Dirty Dallas here, West Dallas. We started as an Alice in Chains cover band. And the last couple of years, we've added on a bunch of 90s grunge type music,
Okay.
Smashing Pumpkins, Collective Soul, Stone Temple Pilots, things like that. We're called Stallus in Chains.
That in itself is a great parody name.
Yes, I'm a bit of a wordsmith, but we couldn't find a name for the Alice in Chains tribute band because they were all taken. Like their album Dirt, there was a band called Dirt. Their song Man in the Box, there's all Men in the Box or Man in the Box. That's thinking.
No, yours is the best.
I even
Stallus and
said, how about
Chains.
I even said, how about like Stallus Unchained? There's a band called Stallus Unchained. And so with Dirt and Alice, and I was like, Dirty Stallus. Oh, Dirty Stallus and Chains. It just kind of popped in my head one day. And I basically, like 2 days before that, they said I could be their singer because I had to audition for the band. And I go, guys, I think I named our band. And they're like, well, what's your suggestion? I'm all, how about Stallus and Chains? And they were like, oh my God, dude. I was like, it sounds pretty cool. They're like, no, whatever. So then my guitar player, it was like Memorial Day weekend. He went to the bar and just started, tossing it around a little bit. Everybody that heard it was just like mouth on the floor. Holy crap! How did nobody else ever think of that? So.
Yeah.
It just kind of popped in there. But yeah, if you hear Stallus and Chains or Zero Discipline, come and say hello.
All right.
If
Do you sneak?
if you'd like to book us, look us up on Facebook. It's Stallus, Stallis, in Chains with a Z.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll take you to our website. You get all our booking information, who to contact, and we'd love to make it out to the Fox Valley. We've been trying our hardest, but there's seems to be a wall. So if there's any people in the Fox Valley that have a bar that would love to have a good band out, and we could even bring Zero Discipline to open up for us. How about that? We've done that a couple of times. It's a lot of fun to open up for myself.
When you're on stage with the guys, do you ever convince them to do let's sneak in a Where the Hell is Neenah?
No, I haven't.
Hey, if you played the Valley though, you'd have to do that.
And they're believe me, they're all Packer fans. They're all musicians, and I gave them all CWA CDs when we first started in the band, and half of them are still sitting in our practice room. So they know who we are. They know what we do, but everybody's got their own thing.
Amy, what are you up to?
I'm in a band called the Cherry Pops, kind of a punk glam metal deal here down in Milwaukee.
Covers or originals?
Originals and covers.
Okay.
And,
both of my bands are just cover.
Okay.
I've been doing that band for more than a decade, and they've been doing it for more than 20 years. So yeah, good buddies of mine. I've been lifelong friends with bass player Jackie, and
that's who I met you with.
Yeah, and
he started out in bands with us back in the 80s.
We only get together maybe twice a year, do shows twice a year or so, because the singer's he's in several projects. So
Jamie, do you lean more California punk then, or where are you between California, New York, British punk? What's your
California
forte?
Punk. California punk or more I feel, yeah.
Yeah, look up the Mistakes. I mean, seriously, the early stuff from the Mistakes is California punk in its finest.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, you talk to people that are into that scene, and you mention the Mistakes, and they're just like, "Yeah, I know who the Mistakes are."
Okay.
So one of the things that people really enjoy about Cheeseheads with Attitude is all of the Wisconsin stereotypes and how heavily you lean into the Wisconsin stereotypes. And true for people from Wisconsin, but especially true for Wisconsin expats who don't get that Wisconsin culture frequently. Have you ever had a negative reaction to the strength of your Wisconsin stereotypes? Like, oh, you're just making fun of us or something like that?
Kind of, yeah. Some people have over the years have taken mainly the older gals, they're like, I don't appreciate you making fun of our accent like that, eh?
It's our accent too, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only half.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only thing that we got static about.
Yeah, most of the time they want us to go even more over the top.
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, it's just fun. It's just fun. So
Exactly.
When we play live and, we try to pour it on a little bit more and have little things that we do at certain times during songs and people just eat it up, It's a lot of fun.
And that's what separates, because a lot of people, when they hear the songs, they don't get it,
Okay.
They just don't get it. So like, unless you're from Wisconsin, you really don't get it. And that's what I think just as important about being a Packer fan. There's a certain terminology, swagger, way of life that Wisconsin people have that is really unique to our state. You know what I mean? Terms like the bubbler and stuff like that. Nobody knows what you're talking about unless you're in the confines of Wisconsin. You know what I mean? In that we have our own almost secret language. Things only recognizable by other Wisconsin.
Where's the time machine? It's by the bubbler. Oh, thanks. And people from some of those people are like, what are you talking about?
Time machine?
Yeah. Bubbler.
Back to the 50s? I'm trying to get money. Oh,
As far as the old CWA catalog goes, like how can people access that? Is everything digital online?
Yeah, you can still get CDs at tuffcds.com, tuffcds.com. Yeah, it's mainly, people get from streaming services and whatnot.
Is there a specific CWA website?
No, Tough CDs is basically Stevie's site for merchandise.
Okay.
And it includes all of his projects. He's actually manages several bands and he has their merchandise on there. And we have a section which just CWA merchandise.
Okay. I'm glad that your cat made an appearance. I saw it walking around before. Jeff's cat didn't show up, but yours did.
Did you see the camera doing the little wave thing?
It got on the touchscreen like an earthquake.
All right. Guys, anything you want to throw in there before we...
Just thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah. Thank you, Wisconsin, for all your support, man. Yeah. Throughout the years. It's
absolutely.
We've had a lot of fun. We've been a lot of places. We've done a lot of things, and it's all because of Packer fans and the support we've gotten from everyone in town.
All right, so you've certainly been Packer fans for 30 years. I'm sure a lot longer than that. CWA.
I'm 30, so yeah, it's been 30 years for me.
Yeah. CWA blows up because of the success of the Packers in the mid-90s, right? Now, here we are, 2025. Team is still playing pretty well. As Packer fans, what do you like about this team? Where's it going?
I think our defense is finally solid again. They're still getting to know each other, so they'll have their off days. But I think for the most part, they definitely shook up the league the first couple of games. If they can get on track like that, they're going to be hard to stop. Their offense keeps clicking along. They need to work on their wide receivers, I think. We've got a lot of talent and a lot of speed in wide receiver, and they just haven't been connecting. So I think the chemistry has to work up between the receivers and Love. Jacobs has to get back to what he was doing last year, and I think everything will click, but that's a lot of ifs.
I think special teams needs to get their shit together. That's all.
That. Yeah, whoever's blocking on the right side, the left side of the defense, they're not blocking because that guy's coming in and getting all of our kicks. That has to stop.
Yes, we refer to the special teams as the ass hats for that specific reasons because they've just been killing us for so long.
Once again, Mark, Jamie, thank you for joining us. Cheeseheads with Attitude, certainly a tailgating mainstay. The music is terrific. We love doing the Wedge of Allegiance. It's always a special day in Green Bay when you're there to do it with us. So thanks. Hope to see you at the tailgate party again soon.
Absolutely.
I think I'll be up there November 2nd. If I can get up there, I'll try to come and say hi.
Excellent. All right. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit subscribe and leave a comment. You can find the GBC podcast at Green Bay Chat. That's all one word, Green Bay Chat. We are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Blue Sky, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. On Facebook, it's the GBC podcast, Green Bay Chat. And you can follow us on any and all of those social media platforms. And may you fully appreciate the magnitude of your impending good fortune. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mark and Jamie. That was great.
Thanks, guys.